Well, it's wildcard weekend, Fox Sports Lab NFL. I'm joined by Jaymz Clements. I'm Matthew Campbell. We've been waiting, James. It's here, and let's get stuck straight into it because we're going to pick your brain to work out who we should follow here. I think it's a great start. Saturday night football, Sunday morning our time. It's a great start. Texans and Browns. You got Flacco, who's 160 years old. CJ Stroud still in nappies. I like the Browns. Who do you like?
Well, this is it. I love this mix-up matchup that we've got. Matty, you hit it right on the head. You've got Old Man River, Joe Flacco, Smoking Joe, and Smoking CJ. I don't know if he can legally buy like anything at the moment, but they're incredible, this Texans team. They were fantastic at home as well this year, obviously, but I'm going to side with you, I think. Cleveland, this defense is the best in the NFL, right? Especially against the pass, and that's probably the key for me. The Texans, one of the best passing offenses in the NFL. You've got Nico Collins, of course, for CJ, one of his favorite targets. The dude loves airing it out. So the thing is, I'm looking at Cleveland, and you sort of go, right, well, how does their offense sort of build enough points here to get by the Texans? That's why the line is so low. So we're still going to go Cleveland -2.5, but there's sort of like a weird mix of Houston are pretty good. So we know that they'll sort of stick with them. I think this is a bit of a grinded out, especially on the ground. With the Cleveland defense sort of trying to shut down stuff in the air. I think that's what we'll sort of see. Cleveland, their offense, you look at Amari Cooper. We know that he's an absolute gun. But I want to look at the running backs here, Matty, because we've got Kareem Hunt, we've got Jerome Ford for Cleveland. They're the ones who have sort of done a lot of the heavy lifting, I think, for the Browns this year. And I think they'll do it again. Jerome Ford, I like him a little bit more this week than Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt was nursing like a groin injury as well. They've both scored around 9 touchdowns this season, but the key for me is that Ford has done it both in the air and on the ground. So you could probably lean on him for maybe a couple of catches and also get in for a touchdown. Basically, it just gives you that two-pronged action, I think, for the touchdown for him. So, look, it becomes this awesome matchup. Rookie phenom, former Super Bowl winner Joe Flacco, who was spending, the entire year on his couch, got the call up from Cleveland, and here he is. I think the Browns get past them. But as we sort of hit on earlier this week, Matty, there is this idea of like a rookie QB versus QBs that have played in the playoffs before. We've got 4 of those games this week. There's a 30% sort of win chance of those rookie playoff QBs. This might be the one that sort of flies in the face if Houston can get going early. But I think it's Cleveland, that defense that just asserts itself down the stretch, right? So I think for a multi for this one, we'll look at Cleveland -2.5. Would go the under, because I don't think there's going to be a giant amount of scoring against this Cleveland defense on both sides, and Jerome Ford for the touchdown.
The other game, of course, is the Kansas City Chiefs up against one of those rookie quarterbacks in the finals, Tua Tagovailoa. They're very short, Kansas. The spread's 3.5. Are you tempted to look at Miami here?
I am. This is because Kansas City's offense is a mess. They're 15th ranked in the NFL. Their defense has been really good. That's like the second ranked in terms of points per game, right? Miami, though, on offense, we know that they're fine. They're fast. They're chaos. Tyreek Hill's a little bit banged up. Jalen Waddle's a little bit banged up. It's all going to come down for me. Look, the run defense for KC, right? They're ranked 27th in run DVOA as one of those advanced stats, Matty, one of those advanced ones that we love digging into. They're ranked just like flat across the board 18th in the run defense, but in DVOA, it's much lower. So they've got a really good passing defense. You know that Tyreek Hill will want to go off against his old team, but I'm much more about Devin Achane to get in for a touchdown here, because the key will be limiting Kansas City's offense early so that Miami actually can run. Like we saw this happen in week 9. They fell behind early and just couldn't lean on the run game. And you know that that's what Mike McDaniels wants to do. So Miami's defense on the flip side, that's a mess as well. They're missing their 2 best pass rushers. So I expect KC to manufacture just enough points in the air that you'll see Travis Kelce probably score. But I think Miami can assert themselves on the ground a little bit and at least keep this close. It's going to be really cold. I don't know how you feel about Miami in those nice pastels, Matty, out there in the freezing cold tundra of Kansas City, Missouri. But I think we might see Miami throw caution to the wind a little bit. And as long as the chain gets in early, I think they can sort of stick with KC. I would probably steer clear of the over-under, though, because this could be an absolute shootout with 2 of the best sort of especially with the lack of a pass rush for Miami. Patrick Mahomes could go off. We know that. But also Miami is like the second best scoring offense in the NFL. So I'm still going to go Miami. I think we can have it at +4.5 for Miami. That makes me feel pretty confident. Achane for a touchdown and Kelce for a touchdown. We'll cut to Taylor Swift's, up in the box, necking a vodka cran, and away we go. But I think this game should be absolutely electric.
All right, let's go to our Monday morning games and our Sunday games. Well, first up, Bills 10.5 spread against my beloved Steelers. We got through under false pretenses. I know we spoke earlier in the week. You like the Bills, but the early money says that the line might be, or the spread might be a bit big.
That's kind of where I've actually landed on this, I think, Matty. I think Buffalo, we've seen them throughout this season, even though they've won 5 on the trot. They're 7th ranked in their rushing attack, and you've got no TJ Watt for Pittsburgh. So you feel like Buffalo should be able to get into their offense. But if there's one team that plays down to its competition, it's Buffalo. So the 10.5 point spread probably has me leaning towards Pittsburgh in this, just as, if not for a overall total point where they keep it really close the entire game. Maybe not so much that, if not a bit of a backdoor cover where suddenly they've just gotten in, they're down 17, and then you scored a touchdown. They've scored a touchdown late, and you've covered the 10.5. So I think that's where it goes. But that's it. Without TJ Watt for Pittsburgh, this pass rush for Pittsburgh, that's the sort of key if you want to beat Buffalo, right? You really need to make Josh Allen panic. You need to make him scramble. You need to make him give you the ball, essentially, right? He's a touchdown, but also an interception turnover machine. So you've got the 8th ranked passing attack for Buffalo. You've got the 7th ranked rushing attack. I think they can get the rushing going without TJ Watt there. The flip side, though, Pittsburgh, Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, they're the key, obviously, for the Steelers. Like the Bills' run D is like 29th in some grades, especially with like EPA, which is like the estimated points added. They're 24th. So I think if Pittsburgh can sort of get this in the ground, make it a bit of a ground and pound game, they can keep it close. So I think we'll go Pittsburgh plus 10.5. But Buffalo should win. We'll go the under 36.5. Josh Allen with a bit of a clean pocket. He's really dangerous. So I think we'll go for anytime touchdown for him. He didn't score for us last week, Matty. Yeah, no. I think he will this time. And the 35 plus rushing yards for Allen. I think you'll sort of see him go, cool, there's no TJ Watt. I'm on my bike. Off we go. And off he goes for at least the 35. So I feel pretty good about that one.
All right, I think the easiest game of the round is Green Bay up against Dallas. Dallas at home. We know their record is supreme at home. The line or the spread here is 9.5. Dallas will be feeling pretty good about themselves.
This is another one where the backdoor cover is definitely in play because I think the Green Bay offense, we have seen it up until last week where they sort of ran into Chicago, where they were very deliberate, I think, in the way that they tried to deal with Chicago last week. We have seen them prior to that, like really, really lighting it up. And so I think the Cowboys as well let teams play them pretty close. They let them score as well. I think if you go through it and you break down like the teams that are outside the top 20 in offenses, the Cowboys have played 8 teams that are pretty good this year, especially on offense, and they've given up over 25 points a game to those teams. So Green Bay team, this Green Bay team, they've got Aaron Jones, they've got Jordan Love, the rookie QB. I think Jordan Love falls short, but I think Green Bay cover this game. I think we go the over as well. I think we get a little bit of a shootout. I think we get a bit of a backdoor cover, though, for Green Bay. Aaron Jones gets in. He loves playing in Texas. Last time he was there playing against Dallas, he scored 4 touchdowns, Matty. So I think he can get in for 1 more. I think he's from El Paso, so loves showing out for the hometown fans a little bit. And Tony Pollard, I think this turns into a bit of a everybody eats a little bit for Dallas. CD Lamb, we know that he's explosive, but I just want to keep an eye on Pollard for the Cowboys. I think he gets in as they sort of just try to ride that run game to a pretty handy win. I think Dallas win it, but it sort of comes down where Green Bay cover that line.
Yeah, the overs at Dallas this season has been a pretty good bet right throughout the season. Sunday night footy, Monday lunchtime. It's the one that's got so many backstories to it that we touched on earlier in the week. The Lions are 2.5 point spread favourites, and the early money says they're going to cover.
Yeah, and I'm going to land on the Rams because I'll tell you what, we've talked about this before. Jared Goff used to play for the Rams and Matt Stafford used to play for the Lions. Thing is, Sean McVay, if there's one QB that he knows, it's the bloke that he traded away because he knew that he couldn't win a Super Bowl with him. Brings in Stafford, wins a Super Bowl with him. McVay knows Goff and he knows how to combat him, I think. So I think we'll see the Rams really just lean on a bit of a blitz. You've got Aaron Donald for the Rams, so he's going to make Jared Goff's life hell. Yeah. And when you blitz the Lions, they fall apart. Like, even though they've been pretty good at home, obviously there in Ford Field, I really, really, really like the Rams in this one because basically the second half of the season, the Rams have been the second best offense behind the Niners. You've got Puka Nacua, you've got Cooper Kupp, you've got Stafford just lighting it up. They're like a Demtel commercial, Matty. They'll slice you and they'll dice you. They'll get a free set of steak knives as well. Why not? But this is it. They've won 7 of 8 since their bye. The only loss came in overtime to Baltimore. The Rams are flying. They're scoring like 31.3 points a game over the last 6, which is incredible. I think at least 26 in all of them before they rested the starters last week. I love Detroit. Don't get me wrong. But without Sam Laporta, the big tight end, I just don't know if they've got quite enough to get past or at least keep up with this Rams team. They might sneak out a win. They've still got Amon-Ra St. Brown. They've still got Jamar Gibbs. But the Rams getting points, whether it be the 2.5, whether it be the 3.5, I think Detroit could still eke this out with like a game-winning field goal or something like that to get them, a 2-point win, a 3-point win. So I'd rather go the Rams plus 3.5 just to get it over that field goal line. Over the total points, 51.5. And the key to this Rams team, Kyron Williams, he's been absolutely unreal. Since he came back from injury, the Rams have looked unstoppable. I think he easily scores in this one. But this should be an absolute rip snorter of a game, and I can't wait. It's basically the Spider-Man meme. It's like the two teams pointing at each other going, hey, neither of us can stop anybody. How much fun's this going to be? And hopefully we'll go the over, so it should be fun.
Finally, we get to Monday night footy, Tuesday morning our time. We got the Eagles, who are like that little hiker on the Price is Right, is going up the cliff, up the and then falling off. They're 2.5-point favourites up against the Bucks. It's the game I'm least interested in. If that's probably a bit unfair, but that's a fact.
Well, I think they're the two teams playing the worst heading into these playoffs, right? And the fact that we get to see them play against each other on Monday Night Football, our Tuesday morning, is pretty chaos. Look, the offenses for the Bucks has actually been worse at home than on the road this year, which is crazy. They've been bad on early downs. They've been bad early in games. But the thing is, Jalen Hurts for the Eagles has been horrible against Todd Bowles across his career. So that's coach of the Bucks, Todd Bowles. The 3 games he's played against Todd Bowles teams, he's only thrown 3 touchdowns. He's had 5 interceptions. So basically, he's only completed 55% of his passes as well. And he's also got a bung finger. So I don't know. This is a really tricky one for me, Matty. I think I want to go the Bucks. If I'm just going to get the points at home, that's probably where I'm going to land. So the Bucks plus 2.5 at home. The unders, the Bucks this year, 11-6 against the unders this year. So especially in prime time, we've talked about this before. The Monday night prime time unders were hitting at a ridiculous rate all season. I think we can see that happen again. This would be a classic Philly again. Win it by a couple of points with a field goal at the siren, that sort of vibe for me. So I'm going to go Tampa plus 2.5. We're going to go the under, and we're going to go on Mike Evans touchdown because Philly, if they can do anything right now, it's maybe sort of slowly stop the run. Tampa Bay aren't very good when it comes to running the ball anyway, so I think we'll see Mike Evans in the secondary just tear that up against the Eagles. I reckon Mike Evans gets in for a touchdown. Tampa Bay plus 2.5, and we'll go the under. This one could be a bit of a slog, but I think it could come right down to the wire.
All right, mate, we're out of time. We've got to move on, but enjoy Wildcard Weekend, and we'll be back to talk next week when 14 teams become 8.
I'm like Big Kevin this one, Matty. I'm excited for this week 1. It's absolutely awesome, isn't it? What a setup.
May rest in peace, the big man. All right, thanks, James Clements. I'm Matthew Campbell. Thanks for watching Fox Sports Lab NFL. Enjoy Wildcard Weekend. There is some wild games to watch.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.